Today I'll be making pork cheek meat, and this will be servings for about 4 to 5. And the ingredients will consist of bell peppers, onions, carrots, celery, blend. I've already cut those up. A couple of potatoes cut up, seasoned flour, chicken base, or you can use chicken bouillon cubes or chicken stock, a little bit of water, liquid smoke, that's what our water's for, half a can of Coca Cola, 2 cups of water, that's for our chicken base, and then our cheek meat there, pork cheek meat. That's what that looks like. Then I'll get to my other seasonings here for the video. And for the seasonings, I'm going to really flavor this really well. I haven't had cheek meat in a long time. They also have beef cheeks as well, and fish. So we're going to have some thyme. This is some organic, rubbed sage, slap your mama seasoning, rosemary, garlic, a little bit of black pepper, and then some savory. And we're also going to throw in 2 bay leaves. And as usual, you can go in the video and get the quantities of these ingredients. Again, like I said, it's approximately 4 to 5 servings. For the meat, it's about a 1 1/4 pound pork cheek meat is what I'm using, just to give you a head start. I'm also heating up 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons of olive oil for browning the cheek meat. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, basically, the seasoned flour, I just added the cheek meat in there, and we're just going to kind of brown this a little bit, and the flour will act as a thickener since I'm going to be cooking these on top of the stove in a pot. So it'll kind of make a gravy of sorts. So again, you just want to add that, and you can just use plain flour if you want. You notice with the seasoning, the Slap Your Mama seasoning has a little bit of salt in it, so I didn't use very much of it. Again, you can go to the description and see the approximate amounts of the seasonings that I'm using in this. Okay, so I'll just drop these in the oil. And that microwave you hear, that's my chicken base. Getting it all ready to go. And it doesn't really matter how you put these in there as long as they go in there. We're just going to be browning them. So we'll come back once those are nice and brown, and we'll go ahead and add things into our pot. See you back in a minute. Okay, we have those nice and browned. And what we're going to do next, I just left a little bit of the oil in there. Is saute down our veggies. Going to cook them down a little bit, give them a kind of a head start for the cooking process when we put those into the pot. So basically, you can just leave a little bit of that oil. I used olive oil. I poured some of that oil off, and the little seasonings from the meat you can leave in there. And basically, you just want to get these partially cooked. The potatoes and carrots will probably take the longest, but mainly just I'm gonna put a lid on them and let them smother a little bit for about 5 minutes. Okay, now at this point I'm gonna add a little bit of our liquid smoke rather to the water. Not a whole lot, just enough to mix it up a little bit. And then our Coca Cola, we're going to use half a can of this. Get our pot here. And we're going to add our cheek meat in there. And just throw all that in there. I'm just going to bring this to a boil and then simmer it for a while. So we'll add that. We're going to add I'll add the smoke on top of that. Let it get down in the meat a little bit. And we'll add about half a can of our soda. Haven't drank soda in a while, so I guess I'll finish that. And then we'll add our veggies in there. As you can see, the veggies are not done, but they did give them kind of a kickstart. And just kind of mix that. Mix that around in there. Okay. And basically what we're going to do, I'm going to return this to the stove. And I'm going to cook until a little bit more of the liquid has gone down. I don't know if you can see, but the liquid it's in there. If you move the veggies over, you can see the liquid down in there. We'll let that cook down a little bit more. And that will thicken up, actually, from the flour on the cheek meat in the breading that we browned them with. And then the oil, that mixture, is going to create kind of like a gravy type deal. So I'll see you back after this comes to a boil, and then we'll start our simmer and add our chicken broth and then our other seasonings at that time, our spices and herbs. Okay, now that has boiled for about, it had a hard boil for about 10 minutes, and some of the juice did cook down. As you can see, it's not hardly as much in there now. So what we're going to do at this point is add our chicken stock. We're going to add our savory. Our garlic rosemary seasoning. Black pepper. Cut back on a little bit of that. Slap your mama seasoning. I'm just going to put a couple dashes of that in there. And our rubbed sage. And then our thyme. And again, you can get these ingredients, amounts or approximate amounts, in the description area of the video. And basically, just want to mix this up good and let this simmer. You can cook this in a slow cooker as well, but I didn't want to do that. Cheek meat is tough, so you have to cook it slow for a long time. But we're going to simmer this for about 2 hours and come back and check it. It'll probably have to cook longer after that, but we'll see. So I'll see you back in a few hours. Okay, forgot to add our bay leaves, so I'll go ahead and put those in. Almost forgot those babies. They make a world of difference in dishes like this. And what we're going to be having with this is rice. We're going to do I have a chicken rice. I'm not doing a video for that, but a chicken rice is what we're going to have with this. So we'll have our meat, veggies, and our carbs in this meal when we get done. Alright, I'm back, and here is our finished dish, our pork cheek meat with the veggies. And our pot here made a nice little gravy sauce. The house just smells really good right about now. And if you don't want veggies in this, you don't have to put it in there. You can use a draining spoon if you want, but we like it all mixed together. A little bay leaf still in there. By the way, you can eat bay leaf if you like. Usually I leave it in there and just take it out if it ends up in a serving. And what we're going to have with this is just some chicken rice. And I'll come back and dish up. And I also want to show you how tender this pork cheek meat turned out. Alright, here we go. Back here to dish up. And you can put this over the rice if you like. But I'm just going to put mine on the side here. Some of them veggies in there. And then I'm going to give you a little idea of how tender that cheek meat is. Okay. If you want to look at this up close, how tender that is. Just cut it with a fork. No pressure applied whatsoever. Real talk. Okay, so nice and tender. Just cut it with a fork. Alright. So go and enjoy this simple meal, although it does take a while to get that cheek meat tender. They also have it in beef. And again, look at the description area. It'll give you an idea of the amount of ingredients I used on this. And it looks like this will end up being 4 servings and not 5. So depends on how much meat you want. But if you do it with the veggies here, like I've done, and then a nice little helping of rice, and that's only about a serving of rice, by the way, that could stretch far. And then you're just going to add a piece of bread or a dinner roll with it, and it's a done deal. Till next time, enjoy.